I'm back in my pandemic hat. Ooh, and I even have pants on now. I mean, it's a skirt. Woo! Progress, yeah. This episode is how to instill a passion for designing your own curriculum for kids that haven't been able to do that. And it was a little bit tricky to think about, I'll be honest, because the way I've always done it is by going to a library. Libraries have these people that just embody the love of knowledge, and you can walk up and down the aisles and just get armfuls of knowledge and start flipping through and figure out what you want to dive into. We can't do that right now. So let me tell you what I do with my 12-year-olders and up. I'm going to share my screen with you. Okay. Here we are. Oop, not that one. Oop, not that one. Here we go, TED Talks. We go to TED Talks, and every day I've told you that we start the day by exercising, being outside. We do that. We have breakfast, and the kids do music while we do breakfast. And I didn't tell you why that is. It's because of this incredible Terry Tempest Williams quote that says, "There was the simple understanding that to sing at dawn and to sing at dusk was to heal the world through joy. The birds still remember what we have forgotten, that the world is meant to be celebrated." I wanted to get that in somewhere. So we do try to sing in the morning and sing at night. At that point, after the singing, and I've done magic carpet time with the littles, we have a devotional. And the kids actually do a devotional. Oftentimes it will be uplifting quote. It could be a scripture, it could be a poem, and sometimes it's a TED Talk. So our kids have spent a lot of time diving into TED Talks of things that they're interested in. And one of the ways that we've identified science and technology that they want to jump into is by watching TED Talks. And we will actually reach out to the TED presenter and we will ask them their recommendations. So this is a more advanced 12-year-old and up way of approaching new ideas. It's, really fun to do TED Talks because it's what's on the cutting edge and it's, what's happening in a research lab right now. And I appreciate the relevance of saying, hey, you could actually work with this scholar after you're out of university or even while you're in university. I've already mentioned MasterClass. I'm going to do it again. MasterClass, as they say, has 80 plus of the world's best minds. They have people that are at the top of their game. And as I told you, they're highly polished films. It's just enjoyable. It's just the fun thing. And my 10-year-old and my 17-year-old can't do everything together, but they can absolutely watch an astrophysics class together and learn how the spaceship takes off and the interactions with particles and outer space. They can learn that together. We try to at least do one class unified with MasterClass. And I think it's like $150 a year. But the way it usually is it's a buy one, get one free. So you can actually have 2 accounts going at the same time. And that's for a year. It's absolutely been worth it for us. So sometimes it's topics that you've never considered. Like, for example, I have never considered doing any kind of screenwriting. I've written novels, but not thought of screenwriting. And I loved what I learned from this class there. It's a great spot. It's not just the arts, it's technology. It's all kinds of performing arts. So it's a fun one. edX, I've mentioned that before. They have 2,500 plus online courses. So you scroll in here, let them choose. Do you want to study something in computer science or engineering or the humanities? And you start finding a class that fits their interest. Make sure you choose 2 or 3 because you might get into the class and not love it. They're free. For most of these, you can get a certificate saying that you completed it, and that will cost, but you can choose not to do that. You can choose to just audit. We have only ever done the certificate twice, and the reason why we did that was to be sure that our kids finished the class, because in both cases they were advanced math classes, and it just wasn't their favorite topic. But other than that, we've always just taken them free of charge. So many different classes available right here. It's just kind of wild when you consider all the things from top-notch scholars that are available, and they're right at your fingertips. As I said, the typical way that we have designed things under 12 years old, so the K through 12, even the pre-K, is by carpet bombing a library, and just living at a library. At this moment, a lot of libraries aren't open, so I'll tell you some things that we're doing. We get a literati box every month. And I'm not getting paid to promote any of these people. Literati it's not cheap. And it's not my number one choice because I'd rather be doing this free at a library, but it is magic for children that receive a box, and they pay attention to the books because they know that it was addressed just to them. The great thing about this service is you pay $10 a month for a box to be delivered, you get 5 books, and then you choose what you want to keep. Whatever you keep, you're gonna have to pay for. But then whatever you send back, it doesn't cost to send it back. So usually our deals, you get to keep 1 book. We'll keep 2 if they're just phantasmagorical. There are a lot of these services. So there is Little Bookish Wardrobe, our Little Book Club, Bookaroo. There's a lot of different ones. There's also book subscriptions that you can get for African Americans. We do this one because of them we can. One of my daughters is African, and I want all of us having these conversations. I don't just want her to feel like that's just her conversation, because we are an ally with everything that's going on with African Americans. So we get this box. It's incredible. It's really well put together. And another one of my 12-year-olds is crazy about social justice. And we use this, Little Justice Leaders. It's, again, a box that comes in the mail, which is exciting because it's addressed to them. And it gives you starting points for curriculum to jump off. And each of these is packed with resources of other books that you can grab and other articles you can pursue and things you can look up on newspaper sites for things that have happened in history. So these aren't cheap things. These aren't the free things that I promised. But since we are lacking a library, I wanted to share them. The biggest thing that I want to share, though, is it's you. It's when you're in a car, instead of roaring the radio. I love having my windows down and letting the radio roar. But instead of roaring the radio, you engage in conversation and you say, hey, did you hear about this? And did you hear about that? And you see which topics they really jump on and they want to pursue. And they will recognize that you care about the topics that they care about. They will recognize that you are listening to them. And when they feel heard, they will give you more. They will give you more because they know that your ears are open to them. So when we're riding in a car, we're having these conversations. We do the Zazu morning report. We get up in the morning as we're walking. We're looking at things that are happening in our world and reading things that are popping up in newspaper feeds. We make sure we use different newspapers. That way we get different biases and we have conversations about things. I check to see the topics that make my kids perk up and walk faster and speak with passion. And when I find those topics, I'm going to make sure that they're implemented in our next cycle of school that's designed. So I think the biggest answer is just having your ears wide open to what they care about. I do recognize I'm spoiled, though. I have kids that are not apathetic, and that is the trend, is to show that you're apathetic even if you're not. So I am spoiled on this topic. I really do think, though, if kids were covered in a curriculum that was designed by them, that they cared about, that you would see the transformation almost overnight. But tell me if I'm wrong.